Hi, I'm Peter Tanella. Welcome back to Just Vetting. I have Dr. Jennifer Bauer with us here today. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I want to welcome all of our viewers to Just Vetting. It's the podcast where we go beyond the exam room to talk about business, ownership, and leadership in the veterinary world. And I'm so happy to have you today, Jennifer, here with us, the new owner of Seneca Veterinary Clinic. It's great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So let me ask you. My first question is always it's a softball. When did you decide? When did you really know it was time that it was the right time for you that you want to own a practice?
Yeah, I think for me, I always kind of knew veterinary medicine was the way to go for me. It was something that I'd learn every day. It kind of filtered my love for science and animals together. But I'd say probably when I started vet school, then in the back of my mind, I loved learning all of that stuff, but then I wanted something else. And I joined the VBMA, the Veterinary Business Management Association at Purdue, and just got a little bit more information of practice ownership. And through that, I kind of just fell in love with the idea of being able to own my own practice and practice medicine how I saw fit, and kind of leading a group of people to also go down that road with me, kind of being on my team. So I became really involved with that club. I was the secretary for many years there at Purdue and met a lot of wonderful resources through it. I feel like that kind of just led a bridge to down the road once I graduated, coming part of my practice that I was all my life, but knowing to the other doctor that ownership was something that I wanted, and she was getting ready to retire. So we kind of had that conversation early on of, are you willing to sell, privately? And she was, and just kind of keeping that in the back of our minds and working towards that over a year and a half, and then really getting serious about it and finding the right connections to make it happen and go down the practice ownership road together and eventually make the transaction happen too.
You make it sound so easy.
Yeah, it was not.
Yeah, right. We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
You touched on this a little bit. What factors made you say yes to this particular practice in this community? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate to be part of Seneca Vet Clinic since I've been in high school. I met Dr. Gavin, the previous owner and my associate now, when I was working at a stable near my hometown. And she came out to see the horses. We connected through there, and I just asked her if I could jump in her truck and ride with her a couple of days a week. And she said yes, and kind of the rest is history. I think it was a long journey to be part of this practice, and each part of practice ownership goes, you want to be able to understand everybody's position. So I was the kennel kid, I was the vet assistant, I was the vet tech. And as I went and grew with my education into vet school, then I was able to assist Dr. Gavin in surgeries. So I knew at the community that surrounded Seneca Vet Clinic, and I loved the people. It's definitely a family atmosphere. I know the clients by name. I know which pets they have. I know which pets have passed away. We're like a family, and I think that dynamic is really unique because you know them so well. They treat you like that, as that you are part of their family, and you go through the life cycle of their pet. And seeing Dr. Gavin really cherish that partnership with the client is something that I liked a lot, and knowing that I could be the owner of something of this nature was really exciting to me. It's just a small town feel, but it has all the right things where everybody so well. Sometimes it's not always for the best, but for the most part it is.
Right.
You get to be a bigger part of their life, and I found that very special to not just be their vet, but be someone that's part of their family and cares for one of their family members as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I want to unpack there. What you said, really where you started, and it's you think the best owners of businesses really appreciate all the remedial jobs you got to do on your way up. right? You don't, yeah,
Absolutely.
everybody thinks, especially the much younger generation. And I have, young adult children now. And, I think a lot of their friends unfortunately get typecasted as they just want everything handed to them. They want to start at the top, but don't want to put the work in to do, to get to that level. I always say here at my firm, I started at the bottom level and I kind of worked my way up to where I am now. And your story couldn't have been any more the same. And, starting, in the kennel and working, way up to eventually being the owner of the overall practice, which is just tremendous.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Makes you appreciate everybody, and it makes you
yes.
be able to thank them in ways that they are appreciated. You want to be able to, not make them feel overlooked. Everybody's part is so integral with medicine. I couldn't do my job as an owner or as a veterinarian if I didn't have my team. And I just find that super important to, applaud them when they need applauded.
Yeah. And you also know, you also know what the job requires. So when you go ask somebody to do something, you can always, say, listen, I'm not asking you to do anything that I haven't done already. And
Right.
I know what it takes. So just that little extra, I think
Yeah.
goes a long way.
Yeah, and I think it's funny sometimes when I come in the mornings. I'm typically here before anybody else, but if there's some reason I come in a little bit later, and they're like, "Oh, the lobby was just swamped this morning. We had so many drop-offs." I'm like, "Girl, I've been there. I've done it. I know the
Right.
feeling. We get
Right.
through it. We work as a team." But I agree with you 100%. When you've
Yeah.
gone and done all of those different positions, it makes you know what's acceptable to be upset about, but what's not too.
Right. And then also too, pivoting, I love what you said. It's like a family. We use that term here in our firm a lot, and we have just over 100 lawyers now, and it sounds like a big firm. And we'll get into your experience working with us, but it's like a family here, and that's one of the things we love about working in this space with you and your colleagues, because you really get that feeling from our clients, the culture that just emanates from them individually, then the practices that we work with. It's really important to them because you guys know how important your work is to your clients and the pets that you're treating, who are like family members to your clients that you're working with.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So practice purchases are rarely simple, but yours had some real twists in it. I was looking back at my notes in anticipation of us talking today, and you said it earlier. No, you and I first spoke back in September of 2023, I believe.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And then we just closed 2 months ago, basically. So you're
Yep.
how long are you into ownership now? Have you counted the days? So you're just
Two
over a
months.
month. 2 months?
Approximately, yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like 3 days packed into 3 years. I don't know. It's been a blur so far. So many rotating doors, but it's been
Right.
good. But it's a lot at first.
Tell me a little bit, about what made, your transaction a little unusual or challenging. Challenging.
Yeah, I think because Dr. Gavin and I had such a long friendship and relationship kind of leading up to this, we were both under the impression it might not be as long duration as it was just because we know each other so well. And when it comes to fine details, I don't think either of us really thought about some of those things that we'd have to kind of iron out down the road. So it just took a little bit to figure those out. I think for me, like finding financing because I'm only out of school 2.5 now 3 years, that was difficult at first because not many financing options wanted to back someone that was only out of school for 2 years.
Right. Right.
I don't really blame them. I totally understand taking a risk on someone that might seem more naive to practice management and ownership. But I was fortunate enough to be part of this for so long, and I was doing all of the back work. I was doing the inventory. I was doing things way before this conversation was even started of ownership. So I felt like I was a little bit further advanced in that aspect. So that was difficult getting the financing that I needed to make that transaction happen. And I think, on the other end of you guys were so wonderful to work with. We got sent to some
Thank
things
you.
that just lingo with the other counsel
Yeah.
that was going back and forth, stuff that really didn't made a difference to the transaction, but one side wanted to be written in a certain way, and that gets to be drawn out a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, it gets drawn out, and we use the word, whether you're on the buyer side or the seller side, you try to avoid to get to a point where either party, what we call, is fatigued. But in your situation, it took a lot longer, at least than we thought was necessary. But you play the hand that you're dealt, and we just kind of, as we worked together and kept persevering to every hurdle that came up. We just tried, okay, this is the issue. Let's get through it. And you were great because you were, to your credit, you were very, very responsive, which a lot of times you're busy, you're working, and sometimes the deals lag a little bit because we're waiting on a client to get back to us. But every time we reached out to you, and it almost became on a daily basis at some point in time, you made a decision and said, okay, no problem. I'm okay with this. Let's do this. Or no, that's important to me. Let's go back and let's ask for this. What did working with, if you could think of it, what did working with our team allow you to navigate more confidently, or maybe avoid altogether? Can you think of one or two things that maybe jumped out at you?
I think for me, I've always told myself, and kind of my mantra is I'm good at practicing veterinary medicine. I know the medicine standpoint. But when it comes to other aspects, as far as business goes, or as far as an attorney goes, I'm going to find someone that knows their stuff. And I trusted you guys in that aspect because you do that every day. And I'd rather put my eggs in that basket and let you do your thing, because I am nowhere near the capabilities of that nature. So I think just allowing and trusting that you guys have my best interest. And I always saw that in any of our conversations. It was, well, this is ideal, but this is in your best interest. Let's kind of navigate this direction. And I think that made it good, to know and feel that way. I don't know if something specific jumping.
Yeah, no, that's great. I really,
that's kind of how I feel about it.
In your analogy, and I use this, and I probably said this to you early on when we spoke, and what you said is very true. And it's no different when I come to your clinic with my dog and I say, Dr. Bauer, this is the symptoms that she's exhibiting. And you say, you examine her and you say, Pete, well, it's, here are your options. This is what the issue is. Here are your options. And I say, Dr. Bauer, I'm okay with option 1, but I'm really not comfortable with option 2 and 3. And I have no idea. I'm relying upon you as the doctor. So it's a similar analysis that goes on because you're doing it on a daily basis. I just don't, it's very similar. So I always tell clients, and I try to make them feel comfortable. I don't expect you to know. Our job is to educate you on the issues, and then you make the decision. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, my client's not doing this. She's not doing that. We like we did with you. It's talked about the issues and you made the decision that you were great at making decisions, and you were very prompt and very clear. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. And that helps move the transaction along expeditiously as well.
Yeah. I think one thing that Eileen would always tell me, here's the risk if we go down this road. Here's the risk if we go down this road. What are you more comfortable with? And I thought that was a great way of presenting different issues, because I'm like, okay, I understand that, and this could happen because of it. So let's go down here, and this is a little bit safer. I feel more comfortable this road. Let's go down here for this issue. So that's kind of navigating in that fashion, like you said, kind of having options and knowing I trust in your judgment of what is the best thing, but then laying it out for me so then I have input as well was really super beneficial.
Right. Well, if you look, you've been out 2 months almost. Is there anything, you looking back over this period of time that you do differently in the process?
I think for me, knowing we had a very unique situation where it just took a lot longer than expected.
Yeah.
I think if looking back, I'd tell myself, I think at the very beginning when we had some of our first conversations, I was super excited. I remember going home to my husband and this is going to happen soon, it'll be great. And then twists and turns and I have a baby and now I have a practice and everything's all, as it is. But, I think just telling myself, oh, it's going to take some time. It's not going to be instantaneous. It's okay to be excited about it then, but also not get too excited because there's so many parts to the puzzle and so many pieces that need to be put together before it's complete that I didn't even know existed. And I trusted my group around me to kind of get me those puzzle pieces so we could paint the bigger picture in the end. And it worked out, but it just took a lot longer than I expected it originally too.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, you said something I want to touch on. So you were literally preparing for two life-changing moments at once, ownership and motherhood, right? So
Yeah.
how did you balance the emotional and logistical demands of both?
Yeah, I think for me, I function best when I'm very busy and I have things that I'm working on. If I don't have deadlines and I don't have things and goals that I'm focusing on, I just kind of, I don't know, I kind of spin out. I need something to work towards. So, I got married in the beginning of 2022. We talked about having a family at some point and we knew we were going to be purchasing the practice at some point too. And eventually I'm like, life's just going to work out how it did. And we had Jack in January, which has been amazing. But, I think knowing I'm doing this partially for him. I mean, someday he'll appreciate that his mom's an owner of a practice and he already is going to have to be on payroll, once he can walk or something. We'll make him clean kennels. But
That's right.
yes. So I think having a goal and having things, I need to have X, Y, and Z done before he was born was a big part of it. And kind of getting things lined up for, okay, I'm going on maternity leave, but I could possibly be the owner of this practice at this time. What do I need to get prepared? So I was reaching out to relief veterinarians early the year before, trying to find someone to take my place, knowing, okay, this practice is my financial responsibility. I need someone to fill those shoes while I won't be there. So doing things just earlier, having those deadlines kind of pushed me to make decisions and know and prepare. I think on the ownership standpoint, it's just all the accounts, all the different groups you're part of, all the different utilities, everything has to be switched over. You want it to be into the practice name and make sure you're lining up new products I'm having coming in because I've been wanting them for a while, or we're getting a laser machine, things like that to kind of help the practice evolve. Knowing those things in the back of my mind, having a vision and just kind of setting it, okay, timeline wise, he's going to be born around January. I want to have this stuff lined up to go. Just kind of having it in place whenever I was able to pull the trigger and move forward, we did. So just kind of having those goals lined up helped me kind of make a vision and go from there.
Yeah, it seems like a combination of goals and just really, really good planning skills to have everything teed up, ready to go.
Yeah.
What was there ever a moment when when maybe your husband questioned, if it would all come together? I mean, you were balancing a lot, obviously.
Oh yeah, multiple times. Like, what are we doing here? Are we over our heads? Is this too much to, chew at one time? But kind of, I think the cool thing about our relationship is when one of us is overwhelmed, the other one just seems to be very level-headed and kind of reason if this is what's going on, we're going to get through it. It's going to take a little bit of time, but knock on wood, we've never been in that same overwhelmed position each other at the same time. So that's
Right.
good. But yeah, there is definitely moments where, I'm 7 months pregnant and should I go do this farm call? Probably shouldn't. But also if this is going to be my practice, we need to pay for these bills that we have coming in. So just communicating to one another and kind of just saying it's going to be okay. We'll get through it. There might be a pinch in time where we're struggling a little bit financially to pay everybody, but we'll get through it and go from there.
You were my third client that delivered a baby in the middle of a transaction. And I can remember, I think it was 4 or maybe 5 years ago when my first client did it. I couldn't believe it. It was her fourth child she was having. And We're in the middle of buying the practice. And like you, she was buying a practice from the owner where she had worked. And she was really like the successor. And they had a great relationship, not obviously as close as what you would have had, but they were really close.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when I first spoke with her, I said, wait a minute, you're going to have a baby during this? And she said, oh, yeah. I'm like, well, how's that going to work? She says, okay, I'll be like, out of pocket for like 2 weeks. I think she went out, maybe at the most. And, it went like radio silence for like 2 weeks in the middle of the transaction. And before, I remember, I think I got a call or an email. Okay, I'm ready to go. I'm like, okay, how did it go? She goes, great. We got, baby number 4 is here and everybody's healthy and good. I'm like, let's get focused. And it was great. It was just a great experience, but really no different what happened with you. I mean, it's, you see, but just the planning and what went on and also, knowing what you're focused in on and, become a practice owner. I think once you had that mindset, you were ready to do it and you wanted to do it. Nothing was going to get in your way. It's great.
Yeah, I do remember, Peter. I was probably 2 days postpartum. We were still in the hospital with Jack, and I was on my laptop in the hospital bed replying to some emails. So you probably didn't even know that, but
right. No, you hit it good. You hit it good.
I was feeling good. Baby was doing good. We're just kind of hanging out, waiting to leave, and I need to keep business going. So I think for me, I need to have something. I have to be busy. I have to.
Yeah.
And those little things, they keep me grounded and keep me going forward with bigger goals. So super cool. Being a mom's awesome. That definitely was one of my goals too. And he's super fun, but I think it's neat that he just kind of goes with me whenever we're going somewhere. He's taking naps in my office already. He rolls with the punches. We've gone to farm calls together already. So he just he's gonna love it. He will. It's gonna.
He's gonna be working at Seneca longer than you at some point. You're gonna start him so young. See that?
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. So rewind to the day you got the keys. What surprised you, if anything, the most in your first 30 days as a new owner? I mean, you have a unique experience because of the long time you had been affiliated with the practice. Anything that jumps out at you that surprised you?
I don't think of any stories particularly. I think the big thing was the girls were looking for a leader to say, Dr. Gavin was ready to retire, kind of pass the clinic forward to the next generation. And when you get to that point, everything we're not innovative. We're just kind of using what we have and not creating new ideas, which works fine. I mean, we're doing great as a clinic, but I've had some ideas as far as like a laser machine, for example, and having rehab. That's something that I was really passionate about. And we had visited years prior, just didn't make happen. And the girls love new things. We have new toys, we have new medications. They get excited and ramped up about it too. So it's cool to see them, be as passionate as me about medicine in general. And the girls really wanted something of some nature, and they've been asking for a while. And I'm like, okay, let's get it, let's do it. Something silly as fluid pumps. We did not have any fluid pumps here, so I went and purchased 2 fluid pumps, and it's surprising something like that is a standard of medicine that we should have, and now we do, and it makes everybody's lives so much better, even the patients. So silly things like that, making it more modern, gets them on board and gets them excited to be part of the team too, which is really important.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. How did you approach stepping into a leadership role with them? I mean, because of where you weren't an outside third party, you were part of the team. So how did you approach that?
Yeah, so I just kind of pulled everybody aside individually and asked them, of course, if they wanted to continue to work for me and be part of my team, and kind of went over, here's a couple of my goals of the practice. What is something that you feel we could do better at? What is something that you feel we should improve on? And they all gave me some examples of things, and I find that super valuable because they've been part of this practice for a long time. So seeing where their kind of vision is of where they work is super important, because you want to create that environment and keep them learning as much. I think that's the biggest compliment is they've always thanked me for teaching them stuff. They want to learn. They want to be part of it. And when you stop letting them learn, then they're going to get bored. And you don't want them to ever get bored too. So just kind of pulled everybody aside individually and just said, here's my goal for the practice. I hope you want to be part of my team. And luckily everybody stuck around for it. And it's been amazing since. But we're definitely a tight-knit group because we are small. So it makes it nice. And I try to do little things here and there to thank them, just silly stuff that might not mean a lot to someone else, but like on a Thursday, just text everybody super early, hey, send me your coffee order. I'm picking up coffees for everybody. Just something small to start their day off. Doesn't have to be a holiday, doesn't have to be a reason, but just do things here and there to make them feel appreciated, I think is kind of something they're thankful for with the transaction.
Listen, your employees are your biggest asset in any business. So you want, especially when you have good ones, you want to hold on to them, obviously.
Sure.
No, the shifting over your clients, again, you've only been like the owner for 2 months. Have you had a moment, when a client said something or affirmed your decision to buy the clinic and said, wow, this I did the right thing here?
I think I haven't had anything big stand out. I think a lot of clients are excited for me. They knew in the back of, picture that was going to happen down the road. Dr. Gavin's going to retire and I'd step into those shoes. And they're always coming in. Is she still here? Is she hanging around? I'm like, yep, she's hanging around helping us out, which is amazing. And I always say, I don't think she'll ever fully leave, which is good. I don't want her to because we share too many stories and have too much fun together. But I think a lot of clients are excited. They're excited. They've congratulated me for that big step, and continuing to see them here, even with the transition, is really makes me feel good and makes me feel like I'm a good vet and they appreciate my help and my care for their pets.
Yeah, that's great. Thinking about now that you're an owner, you have some experience behind you. If you had a younger veterinarian, your younger self came to you and said, hey, I want to do what you did. What's one of the first things that you would share with them?
I think trying to just get experience and find a practice you feel like could be your own. It doesn't have to be perfect. There was many things that I knew was, okay, this is great bones. It has great people, great animals involved with it. It functions well, it's profitable, but it has some things where we can work on, and I can see my vision come to life. It doesn't have to be a practice to me that is already ready to go, has all the bells and whistles. Right. You can develop that. You don't have to be scared of those practices. And I mean, I'm a big fan of small town, rural areas because I feel like we need more of us there. But those places can be little, I don't know, a little gold mine you might not realize, creating a relationship with someone to make it happen for you. Starting there, just getting experience and being vocal about it. Tell the other doctor there you're interested in ownership. If they can share any tidbits with you, any information of do this, don't do that, I think is super helpful because they've done it for Dr. Gavin did it for the last 35 years. She's got a lot of knowledge. She's made mistakes, and for you to pick up those small mistakes and use them moving forward, I think is super valuable. And finding a mentor. I was fortunate enough during vet school, one of my rotations, I worked in Illinois for Dr. Dullard. He's amazing veterinarian and practice owner. And being with him, just seeing how excited he is about medicine and how amazing he's kind of created his practice from being a small practice like mine to now, I think he said last time we talked, maybe 36, 40 employees, multi-doctor practice in a beautiful setting in Illinois. And being able to bounce questions off him. I know I called him many times during my transaction. Is this how I should go? Is this who I should talk to? And he was a wealth of knowledge, just having resources and contacts. So finding a mentor that is willing to chat with you and is excited about the future of ownership for you. I think that for me was definitely him and how excited he was for me to move forward and own a practice. He tried to get me to come work for him during vet school. It didn't work. Right. I had my eyes set on Seneca Vet Clinic, but I think just having him there and being able to ask him questions, knowing anything's on the table, just ask it. He's happy to give me his experience, and his answer was super helpful.
That's a common theme I hear from a lot of our clients, finding a good mentor. And I guess it's like that in any profession that you're in. You find somebody you can look up to, learn from, and say, hey, I can do, I want to be like that person too someday. And kind of follow in those footsteps, but also know that they're there to pick you up when you fall down. It's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's your, do you have any short or long term vision for Seneca? No, not now that you're at the helm.
Yeah. I think short term, we were a paper practice, so no digital charts. I've already transitioned us to digital. That was a small short term goal, getting us more modern for clients. We get text reminders now, emails. They can get their vaccine certificate sent to the email right away, so they have it when they travel or go to the kennel. Making it more accessible for them was more of my short term goal. And long-term goal, I see it kind of expanding to more doctors, still keeping that small town family like feel, but having more availability, because as everybody is, we're so busy, we just don't have enough time to see everyone we should. And hopefully I create an atmosphere that people want to be a part of. They feel appreciated and they want to be part of that type of team. So kind of, I always tell people, like the other doctor that I had added on, she joined us in March, and she's been a fantastic addition to our team. She fits in wonderfully, practices amazing medicine. She's like the internal med queen. I love it. I ask her all my internal med questions, where I love the surgery side of things, and we kind of bounce off each other that way. But having her as an addition and creating new availability